Hello my underrated and magical witches, I'm merciless_witch, and today, we will make DBD Twitter mad. We will make the survivor mains mad, and today we will question the very fair play sentence from survivors. But before we're getting into it, we will have to question yourself. What is that fair play? Why does it exist? And why does every survivor main praise on the killer mains that they will playing fairly? If we search on DuckDuckGo is Fairplay, a digital rights management technology developed by Apple Incorporated. It is built into the MP4 multimedia file format as an encrypted AAC audio layer. So does that mean that all survivor mains just want to work at Apple and just want to teabag the underpaid minimum wage worker from Apple while screaming at them that there isn't enough fair play in the newer iPhone? Well, of course, I didn't believe that and used my crazy skills on how searching stuff in the internet moved my eyes to the next good post, which told me that Fairplay is an actual club for survivor mains to explore premium live casino and card games in India's most trustworthy betting exchange. So that means survivor just want to play some fucked up games with the killers in India while they're losing all their money and wants them to teabag them because there isn't enough fair play in that casino. No, this couldn't be also because I couldn't imagine that India wanted to have such people in their country and yelling at them that there is to less fair play in everything. So I added a DBD after the fair play, which showed me some manchilds crying that the game is too off for killers and tried to explain to me why teabagging helps them in everything in real life. After all my brain cells died from reading this bullshit and hammering my head against my keyboard 300 times, did my head write this together while reading the posts? Fair play means that you should fucking lose as killer and let the survivors do everything with you because else you are so bad. After going into a hospital and regenerating all brain cells, can we move on since we know what fair play means? 1. Not escaping every time equals rewarding. In Dead by Daylight should be the killer op since he has to get all 4 of you and kill you, which is also fine because if you should survive once, does it feel great and your brain feels rewarded. Also it forces you to play every time a bit differently and use other perks, items, add-ons and forces you to learn from your wrongdoings in the game. Yes, it is easier to cry and get on everyone's nerves instead of learning from your wrongdoings. But then I have a very important question for you. If you should still going to school, is it then unfair for the teacher and the other school children for knowing the answer since they're learned for the test and getting an F for not learning, and just cry that everyone are so unfair because they learned and you didn't? If it would have been so unfair, it wouldn't be in the game by now anymore since Dead by Daylight is 6 years now. So Behavior Interactive wants those killers to use tactics like camping, tunneling and slugging as a killer, but don't worry, I wouldn't be merciless_witch if I wouldn't destroy your arguments fully for fair play. So this was just a little taste for ya, my little teabagging Meg. 2. No, Behavior Interactive isn't dumb.
Well, that wouldn't be new since they are always doing dumb stuff. They just don't know how to handle their game.
This counter-argument doesn't just kill my brain cells again, it just reeks of Mimi, I don't want to change, because I'm always right, and I couldn't be bad in a video game since I'm so a perfect mindset, which shows how less you want to change yourself. It won't help anyone to shove your problem to behavior since they have A. better stuff to do than to help Pussy Destroyer 69420 and B. ignore the bullshit you are spamming to them since there are a lot of people like them in the community who want the same and to have the attention from daddy behavior for 1 second. Yes, it is really frustrating dying and losing in a video game, but also other survivors are dying without crying in the freaking world just because they lost, because you know they move on, they have something better to do, and so should you do. 3. Reporting doesn't bring anything.
Well then I will report them all if they don't want to listen to us. So they have to do something about it, because it is unfair, and I also want to win 300 times in a row like my favorite YouTuber.
How much easier do you want to do my YouTube job? Like really? Did you forget that the in-game reporting in DBD doesn't bring anything, and the only thing which you can report directly is when someone is hacking in the round, but you also need evidence, aka recordings of someone is hacking via video. Also just for a fun fact, your behavior is also shrinking the numbers from actively playing killers. I just only have the numbers for the North American server, but if we're just looking at that we have 33 killers which are waiting for an queue, but also over 4,600 survivors which are wanting to get into a killer round. AKA if we're taking those 4,600 survivors share them by the 33 killers, would we need every killer to play against 139,393939393 survivors in a round, or to say it in words, they are too many survivors and playing as killer isn't fun anymore because of your stupid clicky click click, teabagging and hacking bullshit. At that point I just can only recommend watching my video about how to be a nice survivor before I explode, because those numbers are just, let's say it like it is, shit. By the way, if we want to get into a direction where we get fast lobby, would we need over 1,000 or to be exact 1,067 killers more in a K for having per killer for survivors? 4. The lore in DBD in the lore the killers should be stronger than the survivors. In the lore from Dead by Daylight are the killers written as strong, really crazy creatures which will and want to kill everyone which is calling themselves as survivors. So it should be normal that they are using perks or tactics which maybe for some survivor are calling it unfair, or that the killer doesn't want to fair play because it is one of the main parts in the story from the killers and what the entity did to them. It should be normal to die because the killer is so strong, and not the opposite, to win 100 times and bully those who are wanting to win as a killer. This is not what the lore from Dead by Daylight should be, that the survivor should teabag 100 times in a casino, and it will never be. Get over it. End words and unanswered question. If you want to win, then get good, but stop blaming the killers for your failure. You, and I mean the toxic survivor mains with the word you, are the problem. Or how do you want to tell me that only 33 killers are in the case sometimes? How much do you want to blame others for just that you are in the right, and that you wouldn't ever do something wrong, and that the killers are just bad, and the developers and anyone except for you because you watched too many DBD crackhead videos and you are just so perfect? And how much does the community have to suffer from your stupid dumb as clicky crying bullying bullshit? Why don't you even try and playing killer in a higher MMR, because maybe you know that you are getting wrecked easily? And why the fuck are you mostly using the same boring shitty 2018 meta build and start to cry about the killer? If the killer does counter it, if a survivor playing differently than you or just not letting people having their fun. Why the fuck are you, the holy survivor mains, usually know everything better, but in the end you don't know anything at all, and just copy and paste the same argument ions over and over again because there is no brain left from your crying BS. And in what in hell's name happened that you are so aggressive because someone was better in a video game? Those are questions which I want answers but simply can't, because you are usually getting cancelled for it in every human possible way ever. I really never wanted to defend the killer players. I used to be in survivor main, but the situation, the community. No, let's be honest, the survivor mains are just ridiculous and starting to case nang when they will till notice that they were wrong. Will they notice it if no one is going to play killer and they don't find a lobby? Because then you can't cry on the killers, on the developers, or on my comment section, because then is the game dead? Do we really have to get to this point that the game has to die just that some hypocrites in the internet can finally shut the fuck up? My final question before ending this really dramatic video for you guys is, why can't you let others have fun and you are so bad at losing?